childhood, Sri Gaurahari and Gadadhar would play together, sometimes at Mahaprabhu's house and sometimes at Gadadhar's house. They both studied together at the same school, and Gadadhar was a few years younger than Nimai. Nimai couldn't remain without Gadadhar even for a moment, and Gadadhar likewise couldn't stand to be separated from Nitai, from Nimai. In the Gaur Ganodes Dipika, it is described that person who in Braj was the daughter of Sri Vrushbhanu Raj, namely Srimati Radharani, is now celebrated as Sri Gadadhar Pandit. Srila Sarup Damodar has written in his diary, Avani Sura Bhavah Shri Pandita Kyo Jatindraha Shakhalo Bhavati Radha Shila Gauravataro. Sri Vasudev Ghosh Thakur has also written as follows. Lord Gaurash Sundar, who is beyond the preview of scriptures, beyond the entire Brahman, and above even the Vedas, can never be known by the atheist whose intelligence is dull. Lord Nityananda is his eternal soul. And Lord Chaitanya is Lord Govinda himself. And Pandit Gadadhar is none other than Srimati Radharani. The divine couple who are present in Sri Chaitanya are a well of rasa. Advaita Acharya Sadasiv has prayed for his descent into this material world. So within he is blackish, but of golden hue, without the manifestation of the divine couple. Thus, Vasudev Ghosh sings of the beauty of this divine couple. Sri Gaura Gadadhar, in whose worship he has been completely subjugated, he prays that he will desire to show them birth after birth. In Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, we likewise find Panditera Bhava Mudre Khalana Jaya Gadadhar Prananath Nam Hoila Jaya Panditera Kripa Prasad Lehan Na Jaya Gadai Gauranga Kari Sarva Loke Gai. The emotions and expressions of Pandit Gadadhar are not possible to describe. Another name of Lord Gauranga is the Lord of the life of Gadadhar. Who can understand what mercy has been bestowed upon him? Their glories are sung by everyone as Gadai Gauranga. So during the time when Sri Swarpuri was present for a few months in Navadvip at the house of Sri Gopinath Acharya, he taught Gadadhar from the book he had composed, Sri Krishna Lilamrita. Gadadhar was from his very childhood very serene, patient, calm, quiet, fond of solitude, and very renounced. Nimai Pandit, during the time of his precarious youth, would ask his fellow students meaningless, fallacious questions in logic. Gadadhar, however, was not especially fond of these pastimes, and therefore he sometimes used to remain at some distance from Nimai. But Nimai wouldn't allow him to get away. He would tell him, Gadadhar, in a very short time, I will become such a Vaishnava that Lord Brahman, Lord Shiva themselves will come to my door. Sri Gadadhar Pandit was very affectionate toward Mukunda Dutt. Whenever any Vaishnava came to Navadvip, Mukunda would inform Gadadhar, and they would both go to have darshan. One time, Pundrik Vidyanidhi came from Chattagram to Navadvip, and Mukunda invited Gadadhar to come along and meet with Pundrik Vidyanidhi. Gadadhar was very excited to meet such a Vaishnava, and thus the two of them happily set out together to take advantage of Sadhu Shang with the famous Pundrik Vidyanidhi. However, when Gadadhar saw that Pundrik Vidyanidhi dressed and acted like a wealthy materialistic, he lost whatever reverence he had previously felt, even before speaking with him. Gadadhar thought to himself, quote, how can a Vaishnava look and act as if he was so addicted to sense enjoyment? Unquote. However, Mukunda knew the real character of Pundrik Vidyanidhi, and he could also sense the doubt in the mind of Gadadhar Pandit. Thus, he recited some slokas from the Srimad Bhagavatam in a very sweet voice. When Pundrika Vidyanidhi heard his beautiful recitation of these slokas, in a fit of ecstasy, he began to cry while calling Krishna, Krishna, and finally fainted dead away on the floor. Chaitanya Bhagavat Madhya Lila 7:78-79 explain this. So Gadadhar now felt very remorseful in his mind. He thought to himself, quote, because I have ignorantly considered this highly advanced soul to be an ordinary materialistic, what an offense I have committed. In order that I might be saved from the reaction of this offense, I think the only solution is to accept initiation from him. So Gadadhar Pandit submitted his proposal to Mukunda, who presented it to Pundrik Vidyanidhi with a full account of the Pandit's high qualifications. Quote, hearing this proposal, Pundrik became very happy. Providence has bestowed upon me a great jewel. Certainly, I'll accept him. You shouldn't have any doubt about that. It is the result of many lifetimes of good fortune that one get a disciple like this. Chaitanya Bhagavat, Madhya Lila 7, 117, 118 explain this. On an auspicious day, Sri Gadadhar Pandit received the divine mantra from Pundrik Vidyanidhi. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, upon going to Gayadham, first began to manifest Krishna Prem. There he enacted the pastime of accepting the Psalter of Sri Ishwarpuri. After returning to his house, he began to exhibit a completely new life. Day and night, he floated in the ocean of love of Krishna. Gadadhar, upon seeing the Lord showering of tears in love for Krishna, also began to cry in ecstatic love. From this time, Gadadhar Pandit was always of Mahaprabhu's side. One day, Sri Gadadhar bought some pan to Sri Gauranga, who, in exuberance of emotion, asked him, Gadadhar, where is that beautiful blackish boy who is dressed in a yellow garments? After asking this, he began to shed tears. Gadadhar couldn't immediately think of what to say. He finally respectfully suggested, quote, he is in your heart. Hearing this, Mahaprabhu began to tear at his chest with his nails. But Gadadhar quickly grabbed his hands. Prabhu said to him, Gadadhar, let go of my hands. I cannot remain a moment more not seeing Krishna. So Gadadhar replied, quote, just try to be a little patient and calm yourself. Krishna will come any minute now. Quote, hearing this, Mahaprabhu became somewhat composed. Sachimata heard all this from a distance and then came running there. Being very pleased with Gadadhar, she declared, quote, though he is just a boy, he is a very intelligent. I'm frightened to go before my son when he is in these moods. But Gadadhar has very cleverly pacified him. Sachimata told Gadadhar, Gadadhar, you must please remain with Nimai always. If you stay with him, then I won't have to worry. So one day, Sri Gadadhar, having heard that Mahaprabhu will speak Krishna Katha at Shuklamara Brahmachari's house, he went there and sat down inside. Meanwhile, Mahaprabhu arrived outside on the veranda and began to speak about Krishna to an audience of devotees there. Gadadhar Pandit listened from within the house. Soon, Mahaprabhu became totally absorbed in the ecstasy Krishna Prem, which quickly spread to the assembly of devotees. For some time, they continued to taste the mellow of love of Krishna together and then become themselves. Gadadhar, however, couldn't restrain his ecstasy. With his head bowed down, he continued to cry very loudly. Hearing his pitiful sobbing, Mahaprabhu inquired, quote, who is crying within the room? Shuklambara Brahmachari replied, none other than your Gadadhar. Mahaprabhu exclaimed, Gadadhar, you are so pious and virtuous. Since your very childhood, you were so devoted to Krishna. My life has been wasted due to my previous evil activities. I cannot get the association of the Lord of my life, Sri Krishna. Saying this, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu embraced Gadadhar in a great love. When Mahaprabhu began his pastimes in Navadvip, Gadadhar was his chief companion. Radha Krishna of Braj are now sporting on the bank of Ganga as Gadai Gauranga, and the cowherd boyfriends of Braj are assisting in his pastimes of Kirtan. So one day after roaming throughout the town of Navadvip, Mahaprabhu came to a forest and seated himself there. Then he began to remember his pastimes in Braj. Mukunda began to sing the Purvabag courtship song in a very sweet voice, while Gadadhar collected some flowers from that forest and after stringing a garland, placed it on the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's neck. Previously, in the way that Sri Radha used to decorate Sri Krishna, Gadadhar began to dress Prabhu in that exact same manner. Some were singing beautiful songs, while others began to dance in a very graceful style. Then Sri Gaurasundar, taking Gadadhar by his side, seated himself on a dais at the base of one tree, while Advaita Acharya began to offer arti. Nityananda seated himself on Prabhu's right side, and Srivas Pandit began to decorate everyone with flower garlands. Narhari was fanning the divine couple with a whisk made from the tail hairs of forest cows. Shuklambara decorated them all with sandalwood paste, while Murari Gupta recited the Prem Dhani, Madhava, Vasudev, Purushottam, Vijaya, and Mukunda began to sing song in the various rags. Then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu closed his pastimes in Navadip, and as per his mother's request, he took up his residence at Nilachal. Gadadhar also went there to live at this time. He engaged himself in the service of Sri Gopinath. Mahaprabhu would very often visit his dear friend Gadadhar and lose himself in discussions on the topic of Sri Krishna. The temple of Sri Gopinath is located near the ocean at Yameshwar. When Lord Chaitanya traveled to Sri Vrindavan, Gadadhar, not being able to bear separation from him, wanted to go also, but Mahaprabhu reminded him of his vow of Kshetra Sannyas, in parenthesis, by which he was to remain constantly in Sri Krishna Kshetra in the service of Sri Gopinath. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu sent him back. Gadadhar Pandit would regularly recite Srimad Bhagavatam and Sri Gaurasundar along with his associate would listen. Then one might ask a question. If Lord Chaitanya is Radha and Krishna combined, where is the necessity for the appearance of Gadadhar Pandit? The answer to this is that it has been explained that Mahaprabhu is Krishna in search of the loving sentiment of Radha for Krishna. Sri Gadadhar Pandit represents that bhav personified, and thus he has appeared to be at the side of Mahaprabhu to assist him in his search. In this explanation, Gadadhar gives his unalloyed love to Lord Gauranga willingly. It has also been explained that Krishna has stolen the bhav of Radha and appears as Mahaprabhu. Radha Krishna combined. Gadadhar represents that which is left of Radha after Krishna steals her bhav. The mood is that seeing that neither of Sri Radha nor Sri Krishna appear on the Purnima Tithi full moon, but when the divine couple combined as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, this appearance in the world occurs on the Purnima in Navadvip. Sri Gadadhar Pandit appears on the new moon and leaves the world on the same day. New moon means no moon, dark moon, or Amavasya Tithi. He also appeared in a land that is desert-like, dry and vacant, in contrast to the lush Ganga basin of Navadvip. All of these indicate the condition of the heart or nature of Sri Gadadhar. He is thus feeling empty and lets everyone know about it too. It is said that what remains in him is the vow of Rukmini, who is Radha's expansion in Dwarka. Thus, his surface mood in Gauralila is like that of a dark shine, right wing gopi, rather than a woman, left wing gopi. Woman type is little aggressive in nature and fights with the lover. However, to prove Gadadhar's dedication as right wing, he is submissive to the extreme. Dakshina type tolerance everything whatever comes, only with a defensive attitude he stands. That is Dakshina path. That is as in Srimati Rukmini Devi. So when the spirit of Radharani of that opposing nature was drawn out by Mahaprabhu, then what remains is compared like that of Rukmini as a passive seer without any power to assert, only onlooker. Onlooker and bearing everything, a very pitiable conditions. The idea is to awaken kindness and sympathy from everyone. So what is he and what is she and what is her position now? And now her lover has taken up everything from her, looted everything from her, leaving her as a beggar wandering in the street. So much looted. Radharani, when looted to such a degree by Krishna, that becomes Gadadhar, the pitiable figure. The wealth, of course, cannot go forever. She is the proprietor, owner cannot be far off. After a long time, that must come to her again, one day. And those they are helping her in her day of distress, they will get how much remuneration at that time when she will get back all properties. Just as in Braj, Srimati Radharani is the queen and proprietor of everything, so Gadadhar is master of everything. But still, here he has given everything to his master, and thus, in one sense, he is empty. This mood of his being empty is unique. He is playing in such a way as his part or play as Gadadhar Pandit. His is the highest position of self-sacrifice. Nimai Pandits showed his character as an aggressor, impertinent, and an extraordinary genius. Gadadhar Pandit was just the opposite. He had some natural inclination that was in his submission and total dedication towards Nimai Pandit. And Nimai Pandit also had some special attractions for Gadadhar Pandit. But Gadadhar Pandit could not face Nimai Pandit directly. Some sort of shyness he felt about Nimai Pandit. So this is what we know about Gadadhar Pandit. Gadadhar Pandit had very intimate relationship with Mahaprabhu in which the Acharya Swarup Damodar, Rupas, Sanatan, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, Raghunath Das, all of them could see Radharani and Rukmini both in his personality, and according to that, we can try to understand Gadadhar Pandit. It is true that Gauranga Mahaprabhu is Vrajendra Nandan Krishna. Within him, as is the case with Swam Bhagwan Krishna, all of his expansion are present. Thus, as Gaura Narayan, he consorted with Rukmini in her appearance as Lakshmi Priyadevi. Furthermore, just as Rajendra Nandan Krishna never lives Vrindavan, similarly, Sachinandan Gaura Krishna never leaves Navdeep Dham. Thus, the Leela of Mahaprabhu in Puri, which is representative of Dwarka, is imbued with Aishwarya, opulence, not found in Nadia, Bengal. Indeed, this Aishwarya is said to have weighted heavily on Gadadhar Pandit and influenced his loving sentiment of vow. Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami says of Gadadhar in Puridham that because he was influenced by Aishwarya Jnana of Gauranga, he was, as Srila Prabhupada comments further, always submissive, Dakshina Naiki. He could not be angered by Mahaprabhu, even when Mahaprabhu tried to anger him and see the mood of Radha in him. So Krishnadas Kaviraj point out that even as Krishna in the form of Mahaprabhu tried to anger Gadadhar, Radha, he could not draw out this sentiment from him because he maintained a temperament like that of Rukmini, due to the fact that Mahaprabhu had already stolen the Vamanaiki aspect of Radha from him. Indeed, Swarup Damodar Goswami asked Gadadhar why he did not reapproach Mahaprabhu and instead tolerate Mahaprabhu's criticisms of him. To this, Gadadhar replied, Prabhu Swatantra Sarvadna Shiromanitar Tandra Shrane Hatha Kari Balanathi Mani. The Master is independent. He is the topmost omniscient person. If I speak on an equal level with him, this will not be good for me. The above opinion is one that is shared by the late Om Vishnupad Bhakti Pramod Puri Goswami in his book Heart of Krishna, that contains a series of articles originally written in Bengali during the manifest presence of Sri Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Puri Goswami Maharaj states, quote, that which is left over after the bhav and luster of Radha has been plundered by Krishna is Gadadhar Pandit. It is stated that no one loves Lord Gauranga more than Sri Gadadhar. Yet, even though he takes much abuse and neglect from Gauranga, still he cannot leave him. His necessity and dependency is very great. The understanding is that without Mahaprabhu, he is transcendentally incomplete. Thus, she wants to get her vow back from Krishna to again become complete. The complete united whole Radha Krishna. To unite Gauranga with Gadadhar is the highest idea of Gaudiya Vaishnavism. The worship of Gaura Gadadhar is in Madhurya Ras. So it's not for the Kanishta Adhikari on the beginning stage of devotional service, where one strives to follow the principles and avoid offenses. Rather, this is for advanced devotee who are already steady, nishta in Krishna consciousness and getting a genuine taste, ruchi. Then in transcendental view, they are worshipped like Radha and Krishna. Thus, Sri Gadadhar Pandit is like Sri Radha, standing next to the Gaura, who has stolen her bow, and she wants it back. When they are united, then the divine couple Radha Krishna, Gaura Gadadhar are present. Sometimes the devotee will see them as Radha and Krishna, and sometimes as Gaura Gadadhar, according to that pure devotee's mood. Bhakti Vinod Thakur has written an Arti song for Gaura Gadadhar describing Radha Krishna. This is the internal reality. It is all very esoteric and not to be imitated. Who can understand such wonderful and intimate pastimes? Thus, we use ordinary terms to try to explain them, but these mellows are not ordinary. When Vakreshwar Pandit came to live at the Puri, he would accompany Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Advaita Acharya, and other devotees to Tota Gopinath to hear Gadadhar Pandit give discourses on Srimad Bhagavatam. So one should hear the book Bhagavatam from the devotee Bhagavatam. One who thinks, this is very important, quote, I understand the Bhagavatam, unquote, does not really know the Bhagavatam's central meaning. On the other hand, an ignorant person who takes shelter of the Bhagavatam will directly perceive its meaning. The Bhagavatam is pure love. It is the incarnation of Krishna himself. It recounts Krishna's most intimate activities. And after recounting the Vedas and the Puranas, Vedyas felt unsatisfied. But as soon as the Bhagavatam manifested on his tongue, his mind was immediately satisfied. Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur explained as follows. Remember Gaura Gadadhar during the time of their pastimes. Meditate on Gaura Gadadhar, the divine couple, the par excellence of beauty. Hear beautiful discussion on the topic of Gaura Gadadhar and worship them in the forest grove of Godruma, bathed in the light of the moon. After enacting his pastimes on this planet for 48 years, it was seen by witness that Sri Gaura Sundar entered into the body of Sri Tota Gopinathji, who was the deity in Puri on the Nilachal beach shown by Sri Gadadhar Pandit. So in the diary of one Orishyan devotee, Mahaprabhu is said to have first went missing inside the Gundicha Mandir. Then the devotee began to comb the four directions in search of their beloved Lord. Finally, outside of Tota Gopinath Mandir at Yameshwar, the outer garment of Mahaprabhu was found lying on the ground. So there is a story in connection with Sri Gadadhar Pandit that when he was very old and trying to render service to Tota Gopinath, that he couldn't anymore reach to put the garland around the neck of the deity and to reciprocate with his loving service. the deity knelt down to accept the flower garlands of his beloved Gadadhar, who is none other than his beloved Srimati Radharani, incarnate as mentioned previously. So to this day, the deity of Tota Gopinath in the temple remained in a kneeling position to accept the eternal service of his beloved Gadadhar. A slight crack, which is still to be found near the right knee of Sri Gopinathji, is the spot where Mahaprabhu is said to have entered the deities. And if you go there and if you give some money to the pujari, they will be kind enough to show you the crack. His appearance on the Amavasya of the month of Vaishak. I worship greatly learned and exalted spiritual master, Srila Gadadhar Prabhu. This is the 9 verses. His Swarup Damodar has written the Gadadhar Astakam known as. So we will read those. I worship the greatly learned and exalted spiritual master, Srila Gadadhar Prabhu, who appears very splendid, engaged in the Lord's devotional service. He always performs pastimes in Braj, where he is a very prominent among the gopis, who are very dear to Lord Hari. Lord Chaitanya, the son of Sachi, is the dear Lord of Gadadhar Prabhu, who is preaching the service of Radha and Krishna. Text number 2. I worship the greatly learned spiritual master, Srila Gadadhar Prabhu. He is expertly absorbed in meditation on the 9 rasas of devotional service, beginning with Ujjvala Ras, conjugal love, and he dances in the waves of the amazing ocean of devotional service to Lord Chaitanya. He preaches the path of Raganuga Bhakti, spontaneous devotional service, and he is a fit person to attain residence in the transcendental land of Raj. Third verse. I worship the greatly learned spiritual master, Srila Gadadhar Prabhu, the best of those who are devoted to the lotus feet of Lord Chaitanya. The son of Sachidevi offer respectful obeisances to him and treat him with great importance, and is very dear to Lord Krishna, who is seated in the middle of the lotus flower, which is his heart, assuming his golden form of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He preaches that Lord Mukunda has assumed the golden form of Lord Chaitanya, and he returns the living entity to their constitutional position as servant of the Lord. Verse number 4 of glorification of Gadadhar Pandit. I worship the greatly learned and exalted spiritual master, Srila Gadadhar Prabhu. It is only because of him that the truth of the exalted devotional service performed by the intimate associates of Krishna in the forest and groups of Vrindavan has been revealed. He is preaching the aesthetic love attained by the gopis, and he is indeed a personification of the mellows of devotional service. The saintly devotees take shelter of his lotus feet, and he teaches the truth of spiritual life to the living entities. Verse number 5. I worship the greatly learned spiritual master, Srila Gadadhar Pandit. He is very dear to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and it is as if he had sprouted from the manifestations of the Lord's aesthetic love. He is always adorned with the garment of aesthetic love of Godhead, and he delights Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu by arousing in the Lord the aesthetic emotional love experienced by the gopis of Braj. Text number 6. I worship the greatly learned spiritual master Srila Gadadhar Prabhu, who expand the mellow of devotional service and whose lotus feet are worshipped by the king of Brahmanas. Among his confidential associates, he reveals his actual form as Srimati Radharani. He distributes the nectar of the aesthetic mellow of the gopis' conjugal love, strictly following the instructions of the devotional scripture. Text 7. I worship the greatly learned spiritual master Srila Gadadhar Prabhu. With delight, he is giving the devotional service of Lord Chaitanya, which reveals the nectarian ocean of most exalted mellows of devotional service, along with the nectar flowing from the lotus feet of the gopis, headed by Srimati Radharani, who is most dear to Krishna. Gadadhar Prabhu is decorated with the 8 transcendental aesthetic symptoms of Satvika Bhav, and he is distributing devotional service to his worshipable Lord Sri Krishna. Text number 8. I worship the greatly learned spiritual master Srila Gadadhar Prabhu. Even a conditioned soul whose mind becomes anointed by the colorful waves of spontaneous devotional service, as delineated by Srila Gadadhar Prabhu, quickly attains the highest level of devotional service. He becomes like a maddened bumblebee whose mind is anointed with the mallow of Ujjvala Ras, conjugal love. And the last verse. These 8 verses of glorifying Srila Gadadhar Prabhu distribute the nectar of the most exalted mellow of devotional service. And they are like a festival for the gopis of Braj. If one regularly reads these verses and shows the lotus feet of Sri Gadadhar Prabhu, who is an incarnation of Srimati Radharani, then he will become qualified to attain the joy of pure devotional service for the lotus feet of Lord Chaitanya, the son of Sachidevi. So we pray at the lotus feet of Gadadhar Pandit and also our great Acharya, Bhakti Vinod Thakur, on this auspicious day, that they can bestow their kind mercy upon all of us, so we can remain steadfast in our practice, looking for the uh, the real loves for the divine couple by practicing very sincerely the practice that has been given by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And it is very simple. Just chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra from your heart, and you will see slowly and slowly all these ignorance, misgivings will be wiped out from our heart, and we will be enlightened eternally by chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So thank you very much. I think it's a perfect time that we end our session, the